So how quickly did you sort of come up with this story idea for the movie?
Well, like everything else, it's a bit slapdash. I think we thought about it. We thought about them going on holiday together. Before we wrote the first series, really, it made sense that at that time in their lives, that's what 18-year-old boys were doing. If we got to the point where there was an appetite for, a fourth series or seeing the boys doing what they were doing at 18, then it felt natural that they'd go on holiday. And that's what we did. It's what pretty much everyone I know did, to be honest. So
we had this file, the anecdote file, when we started writing the Inbetweeners, and it became apparent that there were quite a lot of the anecdotes that we wanted to squeeze in, which happened on holidays. So it was always something where we thought, well, we've got almost, an embarrassment of riches in terms of stories. So we couldn't almost deal with it in a TV single episode. And I think in terms of the narrative timeline as well, it always felt like it should be when they've left school.
Part of it as well is that some of those things you talk about, when you hear anecdotes and stuff from people about things they've done on holiday, you think, well, one, no one would believe that in a film, and two, that's horrific. It's still you. You're just like a nice, normal suburban boy. Why did you do that? Just because you went, 1,000 miles or 800 miles away to Spain? What made you think that was acceptable? So it's been...
Yeah, people tell me things. They go, oh, you could put this in your film, and I go, they think I can, mate, honestly.
No, you can't put that on film. No, of course we can't. Not unless we're remaking a sort of Malia version of the Human Centipede. I mean, that's the kind of level of anecdote we've been given at times. So that was kind of the hard thing with the script as well, was making it seem realistic and seem interesting, but not as extreme as some of the things that people had done, maybe.
Did the guys sort of themselves contribute to the anecdote file as well?
Yeah, they did. At the beginning of every series, and before we wrote the film and stuff, we'd get them all in, and also Greg Davis and Robert Popper, our script editor.
There are two very notable jokes, I think, in the thing, which are... We can talk about them now, because they won't go out until after the film, will they? But the... James Buckley tells about a time he went away with his friends and they had a hat on the door system, which was, if there's a hat on the door, you can't come in. And one night they came back and there was a hat on the door and one of the guys' bedrooms, so they couldn't go in.
So
he's in there, they're listening, couldn't hear anything. He's in there for about an hour. And eventually they sort of, out of curiosity, they had to go in there and he was just in there on his own eating a pizza.
Basically didn't want to share the pizza, so he misused the hat on the door system to eat the pizza. Rather than share it with his mates. So they're very generous, all of them, all four of them, with lots of ideas and thoughts like that and stuff. So, although Joe Thomas has never been on a lad's holiday, he did a walking tour of the Pennines when he left school.
It doesn't sound very rock and roll.
I don't think it was. Yeah, no, I don't think it was.
Were there any sort of movies as well, were touchstones for you when you're writing this? You thought this is kind of something you want to aim for?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've always talked about loving American Pie because I think it's, for all its great set pieces, it's a really nice character study of four teenage friends. I think it's really quite a sweet film at heart and really sort of funny and brilliant. But also Swingers really.
Is one for us because of
before we even wrote the series, Swingers was...
It's about a kind of like shared language between male friends, and I think that's kind of what the series, aimed to be when we started. So big influence. Love that film.
Yeah, Swingers, and then...
It's not like Swingers. I mean, don't go to see it expecting Swingers.
Yeah, it's influenced by Swingers, but it's not Swingers.
We were talking about Withnail I as well. That's
Withnail I, I love that.
Great comedy that we both love.
Yeah, and just timeless as well. Just the sort of because it's again about a male friendship, and I think that's always we've tried to write through the series and hopefully through the film as well. Is that idea of male friendship without them? And again, Withnail I is a sort of terribly dysfunctional male friendship, but also incredibly sweet one. I think that's
because it's authentic. Because I think there's the thing about Withnail I.
I think
part of the success. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that Bruce Robinson lived it at the time when I saw it, but I think it worked because it was authentic. Because it was so extreme. It's kind of like you can't make up a Withnail almost. You've got to have lived with a Withnail, and I feel the same a bit about a Jay and a Neil, and I think. I think that's why people have enjoyed a lot of their adventures because hopefully they do come off as authentic. Because most of the things really happened.
If the film does really well, people are so excited to see it, would you go back to the anecdote? maybe a sequel?
Scrape the bottom of the anecdote file.
Empty. The anecdote cupboard there's lots of dust.
Empty
shelves now.
I've got married now, and my wife's less keen on me making up new anecdotes by living it. So I've trying to settle down.
Yeah, but, we're still doing embarrassing things. Obviously, that'll never stop to us. Apparently, so I think there's plenty of material. But let's just see how it goes. I mean, I think we were saying earlier, the Inbetweeners itself has always been about a time in your life, which is kind of sixth form. between when you're a school kid and before you go to university and you're sort of a fully fledged adult for the first time. It's that kind of phase in between. And they pretty much, unless we squeezed a lot into the next 3 months of their lives before they went to university, there isn't really a lot of scope to continue that. And so it does feel, very sadly, like this is the end of the Inbetweeners
Oh
story.
no, what are we going to do?
I don't know, we're getting a bit cocky about it actually. We shouldn't be saying that. It's probably, don't want it to be the end, to be honest, because it's been great fun to make.
It's been amazing for us, yeah.